Hello everyone, so this is GS Mains Paper 3, July 2017, and this is the third part. Now today we'll be covering articles which are very important from mains as well as prelim point of view. See, I will tell you in prelims if they're going to ask questions from these points or these articles, how are they going to ask you? What are the important facts which you need to keep in mind, right? So again, I'm telling it again and again, there's no separate study for prelims and mains. You have to study them together. Okay, let's move on. Okay, the first topic is Malabar Exercise. Now, first of all, we have to understand what is Malabar Exercise, what is its importance, and why is China concerned about it. Now, Malabar Exercise is an annual military exercise between navies of India, Japan, and US, which is held alternately in Indian and Pacific Ocean. And it began in 1992 as a bilateral exercise between India and US, and Japan was included in 2015. Now, this is important from both prelims and mains point of view, right? Now, from prelims point of view, they can ask you where Malabar exercise is being held. So generally people feel if they have to do a tukka or something like that, so they will feel that India is taking the initiative, so it will be carried out in Indian Ocean. No, it is carried out alternatively between Indian and Pacific Ocean. So 1 year in Indian Ocean and another year in Pacific Ocean. Okay. Now what is its importance? With China's growing military strength and increasing presence in Indian Ocean, Malabar has assumed greater importance as it is a platform to improve interoperability between navies. So coordination between navies will be increased, right? And it will be to a certain extent be curbing the China's activities, China's notorious activities which is going on in South China Sea and in Pacific area. Okay, now why is China concerned? And again, one more thing, there is a special focus on anti-submarine warfare in Malabar Exercise, ASW, submarine, it goes inside the ocean or seas, and it acts as a deterrent for navies. So why is China concerned? Now China has always viewed Malabar as a grouping to contain it, and its fears were exacerbated with Japan included and Australia keen to join as well. Now see, if Australia join it, then there will be a certain encirclement of China. From India and Australia in the south, Japan in the east, and US is everywhere, right? So that's why China is a little bit terrified. Okay, now let's move on to larceny itself. Now again, it is important from prelims, very important from mains point of view, and from prelims point of view also questions can be framed. So we'll see both those ways, right? Now, what is larceny itself and where is it? It is an Antarctic region and it has broken. Okay, now let's talk about it. So separation of a massive iceberg shows how precarious the Antarctic ecosystem is. Similarly, what has happened here? Dramatic but inevitable carving off trillion-ton iceberg from larceny itself. Carving means breaking. Okay, now again the thing is, Antarctica is a climate stabilizing factor. It is stabilizing the factor. It is cooling the earth. It is maintaining the average temperature of the earth. It has a greater role to play in it. So study shows that except for man-made causes, which is also called anthropogenic causes, no anticipated factor in natural geological cycle that would disturb Antarctica. So that means the major factor or the main factor which has caused this carving or breaking is man-made causes or are man-made causes. Now what are the things? What is the way forward to prevent these things? Now new satellite technologies which were absent during earlier iceberg carving will help in study of fragile peninsular region and Antarctica as a whole. Now see, all these satellite technologies like remote sensing satellites in geosynchronous orbits or in different orbits, right? So they can tell you that, yeah, this is the situation of this particular area of the earth, and you have to take these kind of scenarios and you have to take these kind of actions to prevent something from happening, right? So satellite technologies will help us in that particular way. Okay, now remember, Antarctica is the 7th continent, right? And it is the last pristine continent which should be left well alone with minimum of human interference even as research efforts intensify, right? So again, it is important from both prelims as well as mains point of view, right? But we are generally covering it from mains point of view. Now you can also add what are the Indian stations in Antarctica, right? All those things are important from prelims point of view. So moving on to issues plaguing farming. Now farming sustains more than half of India's population, right? So the thing is, the farming which sustains more than half of India's population, even if many of them also do other things on the side for supplementary income, and it is not a lucrative proposition, right? So some goes for Manrega, Narega, right? Some works as factory workers. So they have to do something, or they do livestock rearing. They have to do something to sustain themselves. So it is a sorry state to be in, right? So unless there is a procurement guarantee and farmer can count on government to purchase his produce, MSP has little meaning on the ground, right? Minimum support price has nothing. Will do nothing if nobody purchases something from the farmer, right? If nobody purchases farmer's produce, MSP has no meaning. Remember, in the class when I talked about loan waiver, in that particular lecture I told you that one way we can de-stress agriculture is by increasing MSP. But MSP will only matter when somebody is procuring something from farmer, right? Okay. So in market, prices fluctuate even within a day. To sell for a good price is like being lucky in a draw of lots for farmer. So yeah, if we want to increase farmers' income and want to double farmers' income by 2022, we have to do a lot of things. Lots of structural reforms will be needed. Okay, now let's talk about evidence-based policing or policing, right? Now this is gaining credibility by the day, and Indian police force must be exposed to it. Now what is evidence-based policing? The whole strategy of evidence-based policing is to identify hotspot of crime and spotting problematic individuals in a community. So prospects of crime are high when there is public apathy and civic neglect. For example, fixing a street light that is not burning for several days, for instance, is an action that could contain crime. Okay, now EBP studies. What is EBP? Evidence-based policing. So evidence-based policing or policing, whatever you want to say, studies phenomena such that they study these kind of phenomena wherever there is no street light. So all those cases where stalking of women and all those things happen in those areas, right? Similarly, if we identify that these are the notorious elements in a particular area, and if you keep on tracking their activities, so that can help in, reducing the crime. But there are certain negatives to it also. Now, EBP studies phenomena such as these, like where there is civic apathy or civic neglect, and they highlight findings that are germane to crime prevention. Now, despite the unfairness in targeting those who had indulged in antisocial behavior in past, there is an expected benefit of being able to predict future criminal behavior. Somebody can say that, yeah, I have committed something in the past, now I am free, right? So why are you tracking me, right? So that is the main case. Right to privacy will be violated to a certain extent, and now that will be a critical issue after it has been declared as a fundamental right. Okay, we'll talk more about it. Moving on. So you know what is evidence-based policing, right? So evidence-based policing, the main area is identify a hotspot, keep a track of it, and again improve civic infrastructure, because that has also to do with increasing crime activities. Now let's talk about extrajudicial killings and AFSPA. What is AFSPA? Armed Forces Special Powers Act. Now, Supreme Court has ruled that extrajudicial killings cannot be overlooked owing to lapse of time, right? So if 1 year or 2 years has passed, and like somebody has died 1 or 2 years ago, right? So based on that thing, you cannot say that, yeah, now time has passed, so nothing can be done. Remember in NHRC case, you know what is NHRC, National Human Rights Commission, right? So they have a thing that if 1 year is passed, they cannot take any case, right? It's stupid. If you look at that, why there is a limit of 1 year? What is the reason behind it? What is the rationale behind it? If somebody knows, do comment it, right? Because I find it very stupid. There should not be this thing. NHRC has been reduced to toothless tiger, and we will talk about it again and again, how it is suffering. Okay, now 80 cases of suspected extrajudicial killings has happened in Manipur, right? In Manipur, you have to remember that AFSPA has been enforced. Now, AFSPA has contributed to a climate of impunity in state where it is enforced, especially in Manipur, and this may trigger a press demand for its repeal. The situation under AFSPA is so hostile, it is very hostile to concept of human rights, that in many of these areas or these cases, there was no inquiry at all. 80 people have died and there was no inquiry at all. Why? Because AFSPA was enforced in those areas. Now also NHRC, National Human Rights Commission, has been reduced to a toothless tiger. It is grossly understaffed, and many state governments show little respect for its guideline and instructions. Remember, if any question come on NHRC, right, and what are the limitations of NHRC, you can say that it is grossly understaffed, right? When state governments did not adhere to their standards or to their guidelines, right? Okay, and what are the other areas? They can only look into cases within 1 year of its happening, right? So all these are the limitations on NHRC, right? Okay. Plus its recommendations are not binding, so you can talk about all these things. Okay, now let's move on to MSP, PDS and National Health Policy correlation. Now what is MSP? Minimum Support Price. What is PDS? That is Public Distribution System. And what is National Health Policy, which has been framed right now? National Health Policy 2017 it has been called. So we'll talk about it. What is the correlation? And the correlation between all of them is small and marginal farmers. We'll talk about them. So see, small and marginal farmers form 80% of our farmer population. How much? 80% of our farmer population. And nearly 3 lakh farmers have committed suicide in last 2 decades. 3 lakh farmers. Can you imagine? 3 lakh farmers have committed suicide in the last 2 decades. When I was reading this particular fact, I was feeling so pity that lots of the people who are preparing for UPSC and all those things, they feel like they have to commit suicide. Dude, compare your problem with the problem with these problems these people are facing, right? Our problem is nothing. We are from a well-to-do family. We have lots and lots of things, right? And even in that scenario, we're thinking stupid, right? So that is not done. Again, remember this fact because you have to add these facts. These are very sorry figures. 3 lakh farmers have committed suicide in the last 20 years. Now, there is a promise to double farmers' income, but increase in MSP is strikingly meager. Very small increase in MSP has been done. Also, replacing PDS by cash transfer will sound death knell to small scale farming. Now, there is a proposal where they are saying that they will replace PDS by cash transfer. Now, again, the article is saying that it will be a death knell. Why? What is the reason behind death knell? See, remember, small and marginal farmers, most of them are very illiterate, right? So they don't have a bank account. If they don't have a bank account, cash transfer will not work for them. So this PDL system, if it is transferred to cash transfer mechanism, it will fail for them, right? So that's why it is a death knell to small scale farming. Okay. Now, what are the other issues which are plaguing poor and middle class? So one thing is 62.4% of total health expenditure is still out of pocket. I will give you one data. I was watching a Big Picture. People must have seen Big Picture. Do watch Big Picture. It is very good. So I was watching Big Picture. There they have given a fact that 2/3 of the people, or 2/3 of the person who are above the poverty line, if they have one healthcare emergency, they go below the poverty line. I'm reiterating it at this point, wherever you can find it. 2/3 of the people who are above the poverty line, if they have one healthcare emergency in their family, they go below the poverty line. So, National Health Policy 2017 is very good. It is aiming for providing affordable healthcare, and it is very, very helpful, especially for these small and marginal farmers, whose 62.4% of total health expenditure is coming from out of the pocket, right? Government is not supporting it. They have to give it on their own. Okay. So we'll keep it up until here only, and in spite of me trying to keep it short, I'm always exceeding the limit. Okay, thank you, and hope it benefits you people. And I will keep on uploading it as much as I can, and it feels good. It feels good that I'm doing something, right? Okay, thank you. God bless you all people.